Brandon Ashley here, play-by-play for the Abby Canucks. You got it locked on the line change, a Vancouver Canucks podcast.
What's up, Canucks Nation? Welcome back to the Line Change, and if you're new, welcome to the Line Change. In this video, we're going to go over another article. This one, once again, from our friends over at Canucks Army, and this article is actually a interview or a snippet of an interview from a former Vancouver Canuck and none other than Maxime Lapierre, and he actually was recently on Canucks Conversation with, of course, David Corgelli and Harman Dial, friends of the podcast and former guests here on the podcast. And they had an absolutely great interview. I highly recommend you guys checking it out on their official YouTube page. And it was absolutely fantastic. I'll admit, I've always been a huge fan of Lapierre, especially back during the 2011 Stanley Cup playoffs. He was absolutely amazing to watch. And I just loved how much of an agitator he was. He just pissed people off left, right, and center. Oh, and if you messed with the Sedins, you had to deal with Maxime Lapierre because he didn't take shit from nobody. That is one big reason why I absolutely loved him. But let's go ahead and take a look at what he says, because he actually talks about the current state of the Canucks and kind of gives his, thoughts and, opinion on what the Canucks should do with this whole rebuild thing. So let's go ahead and check it out. As I mentioned again, an article from our friends over at Canucks Army. This one actually is written by Tyson Cole, and he goes on to say a former Vancouver Canuck has chimed in with his opinion on what the organization should do as they transition toward a rebuild. Max Lapierre joined David Corgelli and Harman Dial on Canucks Conversation earlier in the week and preached that patience is the key in what projects to be a lengthy process before the team turns the corner back to championship contention, using the Montreal Canadiens as an example. Just patience, Lapierre said. Here in Montreal, the last few years, it's Ivan Demidov, Uri Slafkovsky, Cole Caulfield, Lane Hudson. When they were making a mistake on the ice, they don't just go sit down for the rest of the game. They're there the next shift. It doesn't matter if they're -2, -3. As long as you have effort, mistakes happen when you're young. On top of this, Lapierre made it a point to mention that while having the proper players to build around is key, it's the veterans you surround that young talent with that is just as important. Then, the veteran players you're rebuilding, and you're not going to get players with a big salary in free agency for the future right now, but all your young players are going to deal with these guys on a daily basis for the next 2-3 years. These guys are super important. In Montreal, we had guys like David Savard, Mike Matheson, Brendan Gallagher that stayed here. It was easy to try and get rid of Gallagher because he's at the end of his career. He's slowed down a bit, but the reality of it is that Brendan Gallagher is heart and soul guy, respect for the logo, who realizes what it means to play for the Montreal Canadiens. You need to keep these guys around. You need good veterans. They accept that they aren't going to have the same ice time. They accept that maybe it's not their time anymore, but they're just here to help the organization, taking these kids to the right spot. During Lapierre's 3-year stint in Vancouver, it was also aligned with the 3 years Abbotsford Canucks head coach Manny Malhotra spent playing for the Canucks organization. The conversation switched to Malhotra, with Dial saying that some fans are hoping he could be the next head coach in Vancouver if there is a change this offseason. Lapierre quickly chimed in to say, I hope for you guys, before going in depth on what it was like being Malhotra's teammate and his success at the professional level so early in his coaching career. Just a student of the game, Lapierre shared about his former teammate. He wouldn't accept just finishing the game and going home. He would look at the clips, what he could improve, what could his line improve. Some guys just arrive to the rink 2 hours before. They get ready, they're focused, they play their game. But with Manny, it was always a good long discussion after morning skate to see what the plan is tonight, which face-off plays we're going to use, what we're going to do if your stick breaks in the defensive zone. Every single detail was discussed as a line, and then he would just go on the ice and everybody would be on the same page. it would take 15 to 20 minutes over coffee. Just that little thing would take you to the next level. Of course, I'm not going to actually play the interview right here, but if you guys want to go ahead and check it out, I will leave a link to the article in the description down below. Of course, you guys can also go ahead and check it out on YouTube yourself on the Canucks Army official YouTube page. And also, they also mentioned in this interview that Lapierre has a new podcast/show himself called Hockey with an Accent, which premiered on Wednesday live on YouTube. Now, of course, he had for his first episode. Now, he's been doing a French podcast for the last several years. This one is an actual English one, so it's brand new. He officially launched it on Wednesday. And of course, his very first episode featured guests like Kevin Bieksa, Scott Gomez, Rick Nash, PK Subban, Matthew Darsh, and more. So go ahead. I highly recommend checking that out. I know I'm going to be checking it out for sure. And hey, who knows? Maybe I'll eventually be able to get Maxime on the podcast myself, and we can maybe reminisce about the 2011 Stanley Cup playoff run and just his time here in Vancouver. And maybe we can get more conversation when it comes to his opinions and thoughts of, the current Canucks' rebuild, what he thinks they should do, and so much more. So I hope you guys enjoyed this article. I thought it was a fantastic read. Obviously, it's, of course, just a little snippet of it. If you really want to, dive more into it, you can, of course, watch the video on the official Canucks Army YouTube channel, as I mentioned. But I thought this was great. Great work from both Quads and Harman Dial with this interview with Maxime Lapierre. Absolutely loved it. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments down below. And do you guys agree with Maxime Lapierre that it's all about patience, and that patience is the key for this rebuild for the Vancouver Canucks? Once again, let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think. And of course, if you guys enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe to The Line Change, and be sure to have your notifications turned on so you don't miss more in-depth analysis of your Vancouver Canucks. Let's take a look at the DraftKings odds and lines real quick. Let's see here. We'll go with the Predators and the Oilers. The Predators are at a plus 1.5 and a minus 166 on the puck line. The Oilers are at a minus 1.5 and a plus 140 on the puck line, while the Predators are a plus 154 on the money line, and the Oilers are at a minus 185 on the money line. Just a reminder that these odds are, of course, subject to change. And, of course, please play responsibly. And on that note, a big shout out and thank you to the sponsor of this video, none other than DraftKings Sportsbook, which is, of course, a official sports betting partner of the NHL. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, is built for the fastest game on ice. With player props and live betting, every shift, every shot, every save gives you options to get in on the game with DraftKings Sportsbook. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN, that's code THPN, to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois, 21 plus in most states. Void in Ontario, restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which will expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. This is a limited time offer. Copyright 2026 NHL, all rights reserved. This video has been a presentation of both DraftKings Sportsbook as well as the Hockey Podcast Network. Be sure to check out the network for your favorite podcast covering your favorite team at thehockeypodcastnetwork.com, the home of hockey podcasts, where it's every team, everywhere. Once again, Drop your comments down below. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys on the next line change.